Hi, this is Antoinette again, and this dream is going to be about this. I had this dream, I I don't know, probably 30 years ago or so. It's been quite a while. I've lived in this place here for going on maybe 25 years now, but so it was beyond that. So maybe in the early 90s or something, possibly. Anyway, in the dream, and the reason I named it or I gave it the title that I did was because of a sci-fi movie that I saw several years later that totally applied or very much looked like what I saw in my dream, or similar. Okay. Now, in my dream, I remember that it was hot, like the heat, the sun, it was hot. And I was walking through an area. I remember, like, if I had, prior to that, maybe, I don't know, like, prior to that, who knows, I remember that, like, I would sleep, like, try and sleep during the day, sort of, and conserve my energy, and then, like, travel as, like, on foot, as, kind of like, I don't know, drifter type, I guess, something like that. And I would travel, when the evening was cool or at night, okay? Because during the day, like, the sun was so hot. Like, it was like scorching heat. It was like the type of heat that, like, would, like, cause droughts. And, like, a lot of heat during the day. Scorching heat, okay? So I remember getting up or something from some area that there was like a little hill or something, and I decided to travel because it was hot, but not like a super hot. So I come upon this area, and it looks kind of like, I don't see like mountains or anything, it just kind of looks like a flat area with some like weeds out there or something, I don't know, like just a flat area. And I come upon this area that looks like a dump site for metal, like for metals, like uh, like for if you want to throw away a refrigerator or a washing machine or bigger metals, dishwashers, pieces of junk metal. It was like a metal junkyard, okay, away from some town or some city. Even though I didn't see any city in the distance, as I'm saying, I'm on foot, and but it's like it's not a huge dump site, but it's a dump site out there, kind of like in the middle of nowhere, where bigger metals are thrown, things that are too big to go in your, dumpsters and stuff like that. That's like this area out there where bigger metals, things of metal are thrown. Okay, so I'm coming across this area, and I see this area of like a dump site of metal stuff, larger metals, and I'm thinking that nobody's there. It's desolate, it's just like some dump site. And there's like a mound of dirt where probably about as wide as it would be for, I don't know, a truck to go over. And maybe that was like the original area, like a hump of dirt, where a truck would probably back up and throw all these metals or something like that. So I'm tired. I'm kind of looking for some type of, like a safe place to be or to rest or something. And so I'm kind of like thinking, okay, well, doesn't look like anybody's here. Now, in the dream, also, it was like a time when, like latter days, like where some people are friendly or okay or non-hostile, and some people are hostile. You know, like some people are hostile, so you have to be careful who you encounter, things like that, or stay away from certain areas. I just knew that, you know, like if you're gonna walk into a town, you know, I don't know, you probably need a, I don't know, it's like where you kind of avoided towns or something, I don't know. So anyway, I see this area and I'm tired, it's hot, and I think, you know, it's like I think maybe I can rest here or something. And so I'm starting to kind of like, you know, not completely sure, you know, what's there or who's there, you know. And so I kind of like start to like kind of go over this kind of this hump of dirt a bit, and like a couple of ladies like that were like right there or something, they saw me, and they right away come to me, and like they get me like, come, you know, like the way I saw it is like, come, you know, like let us help you, or like that, like friendly, okay. And so they kind of like helping me and leading me, and like not far over that hump there was like kind of like a cave of some type that was like, there was metals over it, like if somebody designed some type of a roof or something with metal, okay. And then there was like little sunken of like dirt, and it was protection from the heat and stuff, and probably about half the size of this kitchen. So whatever you're seeing, probably about half the size, half of the kitchen. So I'd say it was probably about like this, yeah, about this size, you know, with metal over it and like a little like dirt down there. And so these ladies seem to be happy or okay, you know, like, oh, you know, like let us help this poor woman, you know, like that. And so like they're like, here, like, you know, sit down there. And like at first there was like, I guess a couple of women, and then there was like a third woman, and they're like grateful in a way, like not all giddy or anything, but like oh good, you know, like that type of uh like that type of nature, to have been like glad to like help me, okay. And and me being another woman too. So then like they're gone, they leave, and I'm sitting there, and I feel like I'm okay, you know, like these people, they're not hostile. And not long after that, you know, one of the ladies brings me like a plate of food, and I was like, you know, oh, you know, like food, you know. So I'm sitting there like, I'm not sitting on a chair, I'm sitting on the ground, and they give me a plate of food, and I was eating, you know, I was eating a plate of food. Like it wasn't just this little small portion, it was a plate of food. And they're like, here, you know, eat, you know, and like that. Because like they know food is important for your health, you know. So they're there, and they're like kind of like in a way nurturing me, sort of like showing me some type of like this affection or something, like maybe like, you know, pull, you know, my hair back, you know, and a little bit like you're safe with us, like that type of a feeling. And then like I'd say possibly another lady comes and stuff. And what I do notice about a couple of the ladies there, that they have these plaques on their face, okay, like these like, it looks like smolten metal, like a thin smolten metal that curves to like cover a portion of their face, like that. Or, and then another one had hers designed a little different, like that, you know, to like cover up a part of their face where it would like fit on their like on a portion of their skull or something. And I drew a picture to give you somewhat of an idea of a couple of the ladies that had this, okay? And this is not what the ladies looked like, but imagine like something kind of like this, okay? Kind of like this. There's like a piece of metal here that's possibly covering an eye and, you know, part of the forehead or what have you. And it just like a plaque that fits on her, you know, on a portion of her face, and like using the crown here to kind of hold it. Or like another lady, like something like this, okay? Just to give you an idea, okay? Just to give you an idea that a couple of the ladies, there might have been a third one that didn't have one, but a couple of the ladies had this. Like it had like a molten thin metal of some kind that would cover a part of their face, okay? And so later on, let me see, I don't know how my camera's gonna view this, so let's kind of give you an idea. See? Like a thin piece of metal of some type to cover a part of their face, okay? Like to hide something. Okay, so then then like this man appears, like if one of the ladies had told a man something, okay? And so he comes up to the entrance, you know, of this cave-like structure. Okay, so this man, he's standing at the entrance of this structure here, and he's like straight ahead, and he's a little, you know, on a little bit of a mound there, and he's just looking like directly at me, like just straight face, just directly at me, like a serious look or whatever. And then he looks at one of the other ladies, and he nods his head like okay, you know, like yes. And then he leaves like if he's gonna go back to work or something. Now then, like that lady, like they were happy for me, and there's probably about, at that point, probably about 3 women around me, and they're happy for me. They're like, oh, you know, he accepted you as a wife, you know, and I mean a wife. Like he accepted me as a wife. Now I took it like this particular man was like a leader in that little community there. And like he was a leader, and I also felt like he wasn't the only man there. Like there may be like 3 or 4 other men that lived there too, at least 3 more men, something like that. And he was like the leader of that community, okay? And when he looked at me, he didn't look at me in like a sexual way or anything. He just looked at me like, okay, like he would accept me and take me on as a wife, okay? Which I would be one of his wives, okay? And so they were like happy for me. Like they were happy and relieved, like, oh, you know, oh, he's gonna accept you as a wife, you know. And I was like, just looking at them. I'm sitting on the ground there, and they're kind of like, a couple of them on their knees or something, and one standing, and like, oh, like good for, like, oh, that's a good thing. Like that was a good thing for me, okay? And I was thinking, like, you know, I'm a little perplexed there, you know, like, am I supposed to be happy about that or something? Like, why do they assume that, like I want to be a wife of some man that I don't even know. I don't know. It was just weird. And but I don't know what to tell them, because they don't seem hostile, and it doesn't really seem to me like a Islamic community or anything like that. So You know, I don't get that. Like, this is a Muslim community or anything. But okay, so within a few minutes, these ladies, they go and they leave me there, I guess to finish eating or whatever, and they're like happy for me, and they go off, and I guess they're gonna go back to doing whatever chores or duties that they have or whatever. And so I'm there, you know, just left to be by myself, and I'm thinking like, well, originally the only thing I really wanted to that like there, I didn't know, for one, that there was people there. Two, they're not hostile, and they think they're doing me a favor, which, you know, I get that. But then, like, I'm not interested in like being anybody's wife. I need to continue traveling to some other destination. I don't know where, but I knew that I don't want to stay there and join this community and stuff. And so I think, like, well, I can see like the area not too far off, you know, a few feet ahead, that I can go over that hump and probably sneak away, you know, and leave, you know, because like I don't want to like seem ungrateful or anything like that. But then in the same token, like, I don't know how they're gonna react because I want to leave. Like, will they try and stop me from leaving? I don't know, but I just need to leave, because that's not what I want. I don't have any intentions of staying there. I need to get somewhere else. And, you know, I guess I just thought that I would be happy, you know, to be accepted into their community. So other than that, I come out of that little cave-like structure, and there's metals up on top and stuff, and I look from like that, from the right to the left, to see like, can anybody see me? And then the hump is just like, not like, just, I don't know, 15, 20 feet away, something like that. And so I kind of like walk around to the edge there, and I kind of go over that hump of dirt, and I'm just like sneaking away from the area, you know. And I remember I kept like looking back, like hoping nobody would notice me, like sneaking away. And I wasn't doing it to be bad or anything, but I didn't know if it was okay for me to leave, or how were they going to react, or would they try and stop me. It was like a 50-50. But I didn't want to take any chances, so I just remember like sneaking away and going off into this kind of like, sort of like desert-like area with like, there's some weeds out there and stuff, I guess, like, I don't know. I just know there was like, it was like desolate looking, and not like the Sahara Desert. And so I go out there, and I remember like hurrying or like scurrying to like, oh, okay, I think I'm okay, you know, and I'm just gonna keep going. And I know I had some energy because, you know, I ate a plate of food. And so I just remember looking back, and I'm already at some, I don't know, 50 feet, maybe 100 feet away, and I just go. I have to go, because I have to go somewhere else, you know. And so I continue, because I need to continue wherever I'm going, okay? It's like I have some other destination. So the dream ends right there, like the dream ends. But it was like like, just to think about it, like, it did seem like futuristic times. It reminded me of like those movies. What were those ones with like Mad Max or whatever? Those ones with Mel Gibson, the ones back in the early '80s or whatever. and there's hostile people, people just like surviving on what they can get, I guess. And like if you want to kind of like do your own thing or survive, you kind of have to be away from certain societies or something. And that's what it looked like with these people. That's what it looked like with these people. Now, I do remember, and I know that in the Bible, there is a point. I'm going to put it, you know, on my video here, and I'll point it out, where it talks about a time when there would be, like, the sun would be so hot, like the heat would be so hot, like the sun would be kind of like scorching heat, you know, upon the earth. And so I'll pull that one out. And that's what it reminded me of, like a scorching heat, like that would cause a lot of droughts and not enough rain or something, or no rain, and just hot, you know, that you have to, like, if you're gonna travel, you have to like travel at night when it's cooler, because the daytime will just it's just so hot. And then the part of like these ladies, like in this little community, like surviving in this area of metals, it was like it's kind of like a dump site of metals. And these ladies, like, happy for me, like, oh, that's good, you know, oh, that's good, you know, he's gonna accept you as one of his wives. And it didn't even seem to me like like it had anything really to do with having a harem or anything like that. It had to do with something about, like, I don't know, so you wouldn't be seen as a, I don't know, like a fornicator, or like you have to have like morals or something like that. And like, I guess there was like a lack of men, could have been because of war, and there's not a lot of men or something. And so there's only a certain amount of men, and women were like saying, like wanting a husband or somebody to call themselves a wife or something, so that they would feel, I don't know, better about themselves, or I don't know. It had a lot to do with like something like that. Even if it was like a non-sexual marriage or anything like that, something like that, you know, like it could be, but it doesn't have to be. You would just like be one of the wives, and you would say like, oh, do you have a husband? Yeah, he's my husband, something like that. So it was like one of those type of situations. So I remember that, and I left. And I was going somewhere else, and I didn't, you know, even though they seemed to be happy for me, and I guess I should have been like grateful, which I guess for somebody else it could have been. But it did remind it, like after the dream, and I remember coming across, you know, either, you know, parts of the Bible that did say something about the sun and the scorching heat, and like I've been reading the Bible for many years, and something about women being thankful, you know, like, or something, or like a man having more than one wife. And, you know, I hope that it doesn't have anything to do with like Islam taking over the world, or you know, I hope not. But I didn't get that interpretation from that, you know. It was more like, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, if you had a husband, like, it had something to do with, like, I don't know, like morals or something like that. And I guess there was a lack of men. And I just know, even though I didn't see them, that there was more women in that little community. I have no idea how many. And there was probably not just that one man, even though I took it like he was like the leader of the community there. Like probably 3 other men, possibly. I know there was like other men, and they also had like, I don't know, 2 or 3 wives or something. But it was like just to have like a husband or something, okay? Like something like that. and they all did, like, they all survived under this community of having a husband, and everybody did their chores, and everybody kind of worked together, and it did not seem hostile. It did not seem hostile, and for some reason I was supposed to be grateful or something, which I guess I was grateful to eat and stuff, but this was just not my forte. This is not what I was looking for, and I kind of wasn't even looking to be saved. I was just needing to, get to some other destination. And, so, like, in the latter times, like, I guess mankind is, like, regardless of their circumstances, regardless of scorching heat, or lack of food, or a nuclear aftermath. And that's what I forgot to bring up. Like, the movie that I had seen, like, several years later, it was a sci-fi movie. And there was, like, these people in the sci-fi movie that had these plaques, like, pretty much what I had seen, like, partially covering their face. Well, in the movie, okay, this man or woman in the movie took off the plaque because, she didn't want to, or he didn't want to, and he took off this plaque off the face that covered, like, one eye or something, and he was burnt. Like, they were burnt from, like, a nuclear fallout or something, that people got scarred on parts of their face. Like, it was all crinkled, or the eye was shut or something, and, like, the rest of the face looked okay, but part of the face was, like, burnt and scarred from, like, nuclear war, and so some people would wear these to cover, like, the ugliness of the burns, like the scarring. That's what they were wearing them for. And that's why, like, it really matched, like, what I saw in the dream, of why a couple of these ladies had that on their face, because it was like these men or somebody there in that community, like, melted that metal to make them a plaque to hide the burn marks, like this, like an awful, hideous looking burn marks on their face. And like that, same as in that sci-fi movie, okay? And so, in the sci-fi movie, it was like after, like, when people are still surviving after, nuclear war has taken place, and they so happen to be, like, victims of some sort. Well, sorry about that interruption. The dogs started barking and stuff, and it wasn't until I decided to kind of edit some stuff here that I realized, whoa, I think I lost a piece. Anyway, all I can say is that, like, I had been reading the Bible ever since I was, like, younger, and I always remembered a part. And what I did remember, and what I do know about that dream, even after waking up, was that it was a futuristic dream. Like, I knew that it was a futuristic dream, and it would not I would not want to be living in days like that, compared to the days that we're living in now. Like, it is, like, really different. And like, if there was, like, a nuclear, blast of certain areas or whatever, probably not completely bombed out, but, it would, like, really change life. And it has changed life for a lot of countries already, but in this circumstance, it was, it was the United States, because, like, I knew I wasn't in another country, but it's just a very dismal way to live. And I guess, like, mankind, they survive, or they have to adjust to circumstances or things like that. And probably, people were still, still, like, in this hanging on and or at least hanging on to God, I guess I would probably say so, that, you know, regardless of everything, that like that little community and stuff, even though I didn't want to be there and I had somewhere else to go, I just and like a woman traveling by herself. Now, I'd hate to be that woman. So I often wondered about that dream because it felt so real. And the heat, I could feel the heat of the sun. Like I could feel it. It was hot. And people were still, you know, like I guess keeping the faith, or I don't know, I guess trying to do what was right. That whole marital type situation was like, it wasn't like something that, it was just like, yeah, like morals or something, like, I don't know, it didn't have to even be, you know, like a sexual marriage or anything, but it was pretty interesting. And crazy, scorching heat, man, scorching heat. And people were still surviving. However they could, you know, and avoiding hostile people, and, you know, keeping away from cities, I guess, or something. Anyway, that's all I want to say. That's about it. God bless you all. And keep the faith regardless. Keep the faith regardless. Because even those situations, this, you know, it's all going to end and it'll all come to pass.